Hey guys, so today I'm going to be talking about Gumi English and how to fix some of the issues with her voice bank. I think that Gumi English is a voice bank with a lot of potential, but I hardly ever see her full potential realized because a lot of people don't know how to fix the issues that they encounter when they work with her. The main overarching issue with her voice bank is the fact that she has a lot of broken transitions. A transition is the ability of one phoneme to smoothly blend into the next phoneme. And in Gumi English, a lot of times there is no smooth blend and you'll get a break between phonemes. So in this example, I'm going to be showing you how to fix a broken transition in the middle of a word. The two example words we have here are sharp and choice. And if you listen, you're going to hear a break right after the first phoneme of each word.
Sharp, choice.
So that's sharp, choice, which just sounds like shit. And so the way you're going to fix this is with what I like to call the magic bridge phoneme. And the magic bridge phoneme is the capital U phoneme. The capital U phoneme is special because it has the ability to have a smooth transition into practically every other phoneme in her voice bank. And so what this means is you can place it between two phonemes that have a broken transition, and the capital U phoneme will be able to blend into the one before it and the one after it, and essentially complete the transition artificially. So the break here in the word sharp is right between the capital S phoneme, which is sh, and the capital Q at symbol phoneme, which is R. And so what we're going to have to do is insert the U between the S and the Q at symbol in order to have it complete a transition. Now you might notice if you just go ahead and drop a capital U in the middle of it and call it a day, that it kind of skews the pronunciation because now this capital U is actually being pronounced for too long.
Sharp.
So, I mean, that's okay, but it's definitely a sharp when I just want sharp. And so what we do in this case, you add this very small beginning note right in front of it, and in this one you enter the capital S and the capital U phoneme. And in the next note, you're just going to keep the ARP part. So you have sh and ARP. And so now you've fixed the transition and also limited how long the is pronounced. And so you basically have a perfect pronunciation.
Sharp.
Perfect, right? The next word is choice, which has the same issue. And so if you remember, what we're going to do is add a little beginning note, very short as you can. I usually just do 1/64th, as you see up here. And enter the beginning phoneme, which is lowercase t, capital S, the magic U phoneme, and in the next one, you just leave the rest of the word in there and get rid of the first part that you've already entered into the short part. And so now you'll hear that this word also has a fixed pronunciation now.
Choice.
Perfect. In this next example, we're going to be addressing the issue where you have a broken transition between words. This isn't as noticeable, and so sometimes I see people just don't even bother to fix this. But I think it's important to patch up this broken transition, even if it's between words, just because it makes the phrase flow more smoothly and is less choppy, sounds more natural. So the phrase here is, and though I see. But listen and see if you can detect where the break is.
And though I see.
The break is right here between though and I. She says, and though I see. When if you were to say that in the speed that she's saying it, you'd probably just say, and though I see. So you have sort of a W sound right in between there. And coincidentally, the W phoneme is exactly what we're going to use to fix this. And so basically what we're doing here is we're placing the W right in between the at symbol U, which is the O phoneme, and the AI phoneme, which is the I phoneme. So we're going to drop him somewhere in the middle here, and that's going to patch the transition. You could either put the W at the end of the word though, or at the beginning of the word I. In this case, it doesn't really matter. I'm just going to put it at the end of the word, at the end of the word though. And now you'll see that the transition is fixed.
And though I see.
See? That's just more natural as compared to how it was.
And though I see.
Alright, this one is a little bit more complicated, but it still uses the same principle more or less. The phrase here is, I'll see them. And see if you can detect where the break is.
I don't see them.
So if we just play this one separately, you can actually hear where the break is, which is right between the I phoneme and the L phoneme.
I
So I figured out how to fix this L issue by a little experimenting, and I found out that while the AI phoneme doesn't go into this regular L phoneme, there's actually another L phoneme, which is sometimes used, which is actually L0. And so even the default phonetic spelling that it spits out when you type in I'll is actually technically wrong for her voice bank. So now if you listen, there's not going to be any break between the I and the ul.
I'll
Smooth. However, our work is not done because if you listen to the whole phrase,
see them.
there's still a break. Why? I'll tell you why. It's because now, although the AI and the L0 have a smooth transition, now the L0 doesn't transfer into the S. And it's hard to hear, but the first L phoneme that we had, which was just a plain L, did transition into the S. To correct that, we're actually going to bring the first L phoneme back, and so it's going to wind up being AI, L0, and then the original L phoneme, which was just L. Now you'll see it flows smoothly.
I'll see them.
And I'll just show you how it was originally.
I don't see them.
And fixed.
I'll see them.
Alright. This example deals with an issue that isn't related to broken transitions. Instead, this is the issue where sometimes her B's and her D's are so soft that you can hardly hear them. So in these example phrases, which are in their brain and in their dreams, you'll hear that both the B in brain and the D in dreams are either slurry or almost non-existent.
In their rain, in their dreams.
Very weak. I mean, this one almost sounds like in the rain.
In the rain.
Super, super weak. What I do here is I actually just replace it with a P. In this case, I've played around and I figured out that PH works better for brain than just a regular P. Likewise, for the word dreams, I'm going to replace the D phoneme with the T phoneme. In this case, I just used the plain T phoneme without the H. And now, even though those are technically not the correct phonemes for the words, when it's played all together, it sounds right to your ear.
In their brain, in their dreams.
And if that still is a little rough for you and you really want to, get down and dirty and try and make it absolutely perfect, what I usually do is maybe bring the dynamics down right where the P hits or the T hits, and experiment with velocity. You can play around, but that's just a basic fix right there. This next example is a really great example of the times where the default phonetic spelling that the program will give you when you enter in a word is actually not the correct spelling for her voice bank. So in this phrase, and the phrases, and that much is true, they have spelled the word much with capital V being the vowel. And if you listen, that really just doesn't sound right because much sounds more like match.
And that match is true.
It has like a weird tinge to it. It sounds like match. It's not satisfactory. And so in these cases, this is kind of just on a case-by-case basis, you're just going to want to trade out the offending vowel phoneme with some other similar vowel phonemes. And a lot of the time, you'll find that one of the similar ones actually works way better than the one that they gave you. So in this case, I'm trading the capital V for the capital Q, which make a very similar sound by themselves, but sometimes when they play with the phonemes on either side of them, it tinges them weird, and that's what happened with the capital V. So now that we've replaced the capital V with the capital Q phoneme, which makes a very similar ah sound, you'll hear that the pronunciation of the word is much better.
And that much is true.
So, before,
And that much is true.
after.
And that much is true.
A lot better. This is another example that deals with pronunciation issues, only this one doesn't have such a simple solution. So in this phrase, which is, my work is tough, you'll hear that the word work sounds more like work.
My work is tough.
And so What I usually do with stuff like this is put in that magic U phoneme that I used at the beginning, only in this case, I'm not using it to fix a broken transition, I'm using it to slightly alter the pronunciation of the vowel that's already there. And so when you insert that magic U between the W and the compound R phoneme, so that's both ah and put together, it sounds more like work and less like work.
My work is tough.
Whereas before it was.
My work is tough.
Again, subtle change, but it really makes a difference. The reason I couldn't just swap the vowel, the ah sound in work, like I did in the previous example with much, is because in the word work, the A and the R kind of come bundled together. So instead of just ah and being separate, they kind of come in one phoneme, which is at symbol R. And that kind of just makes my job harder because you need to keep the hard R sound that only comes from this compound AR. And so you can't switch the at symbol that comes packaged with the R. And so the best option in these cases when you have these compound phonemes is to try and alter the pronunciation with something before or after it. But again, it takes a little bit of experimenting. So I hope that this helped you guys out and that you'll be able to put some of these tricks to good use to make Gumi English sound as good as she possibly can. The reason I really made this video was because it's kind of frustrating to listen to songs that use Gumi English and be able to actually pick out in her singing exactly where some of these issues are and be able to actually hear these little glitches in her voice bank that nobody has bothered to fix, or maybe they just didn't know how to fix it. But when you know that those are so easily remedied, it just kind of kills me a little on the inside every time I hear it not being fixed, because it would just vastly improve the listening experience. Anyway, that's about all I have for you guys today. So, until next time.